Joining us here is Rob Bradford, live from Fort Myers. He is brought to you by a variety of great sponsors. We'll get that for you coming up. But Bradford, how you doing here today?
Oh, my goodness. So good, McFarland, to all of you. Just a preemptive strike, McFarland.
Yes.
What a day. What a day. What a day to be alive.
Woo.
Yes. By the way, I have baseballs and boring hats for you guys when I get back.
Nice.
Oh, hell yeah.
This came in.
Do you have one? You have one big enough for Keefe's giant dome over there? You sure?
Not necessary.
Yeah. Well, I as someone with a humongous dome, yes, I've test ridden all of these hats, so ready to go.
Wait a minute. You've worn this hat that I'm wearing?
You're like
hand-me-down?
You're like chicken guy wearing my hat.
Yeah, it's kind of I'm like the test dummy for him. I walk around, yeah. So
okay.
it's but in that clip, what I am shocked when you had that Marcel Meyer clip of Joe having an expert call Hall of Fame Joe Castiglione, that I didn't implement my trademark this spring is saying in the middle of it, ooh,
yep,
ooh.
Nice. Yeah. You wouldn't be the only play-by-play guy in the city doing that, or color guy doing that. What are the chances that Marcel Mayer ends up being the second baseman? I feel like that hasn't been talked about at all. We were looking at, obviously Christian Campbell, but then Vaughn Grissom, David Hamilton, and then yesterday when you looked at that lineup, you're like, that seems like everybody else and Marcel Mayer at second base. So what kind of chances do you give him there?
It is so weird. I think that other than now that we have the Celtics news in the rear view in terms of the ownership, the next big news is the lineup for tonight's game in Hammond Stadium.
Yes.
Because I kind of mean this, where we're going to see if this was just hey, we're just going to run them out there and give them a whirl just for future endeavors, or if this is a real thing. Because you get to this point in spring training. This is what I know. You get to this point in spring training, you don't usually just say, hey, we're gonna test a guy at a new position with 6 exhibition games to go. No, usually all these guys are playing together. You want the guys who are going to be regulars getting their reps, and that's what we thought was going on with Christian Campbell. For the last week and a half, he was being run out as the starting second baseman. Vaughn Grissom was in the backfield or coming in late in the game. We knew that this was going this way. Then all of a sudden, Marcel Meyer, the guy who, as he told us yesterday, had barely worked out at second base at all, had played a couple innings the day before, had certainly never started at second base in his life, but he's in second base with all these other regulars. I don't think you can dismiss it. I don't. I think that there was an element of the team or some people with the team that thought this might be the way to go because Marcelo Meyer, of the 3 guys, was the most comfortable. He looked like a major league player. It's undeniable, his skills and his ability. So why not give him a whirl at second base? And I think that's what we saw yesterday. We saw a guy who can handle the position. It's just bizarre that they're doing this with 6 exhibition games to go. After, by the way, I went back to the tape a couple of weeks ago where Alex Cora said, no, Marcelo Meyer, after he had a big game, Marcelo Meyer is going to play third and short. Nah, not second. That was a couple of weeks ago.
Jeez.
So, yeah,
well,
it's wild.
Alex Cora also said Devers is going to get into some spring training games at third base. That's not happening either. Is there any thought to, and I actually heard a caller to WEEI Afternoons bring this up yesterday. I thought it was an interesting point. If they're going to play Meyer in the big leagues, is there any thought to playing him at short and moving Trevor Story to second, who's played second before, or would Story just have no time for that as a big league veteran?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're entrenched. The Story is short. And the other thing is, Story was a good second baseman. He's a good shortstop. Honestly, I could say that Trevor Story right now is a better shortstop than Marcelo Meyer. And, you have less room for error maybe if you play Marcelo Meyer at second. But I'll come back to it. It's bizarre because, yeah, he can make all the plays. He's a confident fielder. He's a confident player. He's an athletic guy. But there are certain things that are going to crop up that, it would have been nice to work on about 3 weeks ago. It's really, really bizarre. But maybe we show up today and Christian Campbell's starting and he's your starting second baseman. I don't know. I just know this, is that all the spring trainings that I've seen, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this, where this close to opening day, that you're integrating someone at a new position like this.
All right, so give me your best guess. Power rank the 4 second basemen most likely to start opening day to least likely to start opening day.
The four? Who's the fourth? the guy that got sent down yesterday.
David Hamilton. Oh, yeah, Von Grissom is out. That's true.
Oh, yeah, Von Grissom's out. All right,
yeah.
so just the three then.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if David Hamilton starts on opening day because you're going up against Evaldi, a righty.
Wait, what?
And he,
then what was then what was all this?
Yeah,
Sorry.
never mind then.
Well, I mean, I'm just don't shoot the messenger. But I mean, if you're talking about I love a good power rank. I can power rank
Let's hear it.
the worst 7-Eleven clerks that I've had here in Fort Myers over the last 6 weeks. I would love to do that because there's one and then there's everybody else.
Let's save it for the podcast there, Rob.
Yeah, no, I know, but I don't know. I can't help myself. But I will say this is that I still feel like it's so bizarre. The Meyer thing is so bizarre. I kind of want to play the safe route and say Christian Campbell. Because he's looked good defensively. He's going to be exposed offensively. I think more than Meyer would be. But like I said before, I think that they saw how good Meyer has been and it will be, and they can't get past that. This guy is more advanced than Christian Campbell right now as a major league player, and I think this is why they're going to run him out there. And so we'll ask me this question tomorrow because I have to see who's playing tonight.
Okay. Well, you're not on tomorrow, but we next week we'll be sure to ask.
I'll call in.
Rob Bradford.
Rob from the car.
WEEI Baseball Isn't Boring podcast joins us every week, every Thursday, Rob, here on Jones and Keefe. You were talking to Sam Kennedy yesterday on the broadcast. We played this clip earlier. You asked him about Garrett Crochet, the extension. It sounds to me, you let me know if you agree with it, it sounds to me like Sam was putting it on Garrett Crochet and his family if he wants to be in Boston. We're open to signing him right now. It's up to him and his family to sign here. How did you read those comments?
Yeah, I didn't read them like that, really, to be honest with you. I read them as he's saying, yeah, well, he has to be comfortable if he's going to sign a long-term deal. This is what I know about the Garrett Crochet deal. As I wrote the other day, is that he isn't going to negotiate once opening day comes along. Okay, that's step one. So you better get on it now. The other thing is that from the team's perspective, if Sam Kennedy said, "Oh, it's up to the family," no, I think it's up to the Red Sox. And it's up to the Red Sox to define how they view this extension. Do they view it as a max free deal? Do they view it as a legitimate free agent guy, even though he has 2 years left? Because that's I think probably how Garrett Crochet is viewing it. But the Red Sox might be viewing it as, well, no, he's only got 1 year under his belt. We're going to use this year as a sort of fail-safe year, and then if we have to pay the piper next year, we'll do it. But, so I think Garrett Crochet, I mean, he said this. He says that Boston is the type of place that he was hoping to get traded to because Boston is the place where he can see himself and his family for a long time. He has said this. He said it on the Baseball Isn't Boring podcast. So with that in mind, it all comes down to, do the Red Sox view Garrett Crochet as a guy who you're willing to give like the Max Fried level, probably more than Max Fried, because they have the same agency and all of that. But are they willing to do that, take that leap of faith, even though he has 1 year under his belt, and say, you're our guy for the next, 8 to 10 years? That's what we're going to find out, because if they are, then I think Garrett Crochet likes Boston just fine. His family likes it just fine. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's just either or, how the Red Sox view it.
One last one for me. Masataka Yoshida, it sounds like might start the year on the IL, but with Devers playing DH and them really not wanting Yoshida to even have a glove, what is his role for the season? Is it just $19 million pinch hitter, or what do they envision with him?
Yeah, every time they say nice things about Masa Yoshida, I kind of feel like they're saying nice things to make sure everyone in baseball hears they're saying nice things about him. Because, as you point out, I don't see the avenue. They can talk all they want about him getting his throwing back and an arm back and playing in the field. Well, that's not what he is. There's a reason why he didn't play there at all last year. He's had a good spring hitting the ball. He can hit the ball. I think he could be a useful player for a major league team. But this major league team happens to have a DH, and yes, Rafael Devers is their DH, and not a lot of room for wiggle room. I mean, there's just no place for Masa Yoshida to play. I think in the meantime, they're just going to slow play it until it's finally his arm's ready. He'll do a rehab assignment. We'll get him back in May, and then we'll figure it out. But there is absolutely no place right now for Masa Yoshida to play because Rafael Devers is your DH and Alex Bregman's your third baseman.
Okay. Rob Bradford every Thursday here on Jones and Keefe. You can check him out, weei.com. And Baseball Isn't Boring, the podcast. Latest guest, Northeastern great, my guy, Adam Ottavino. So
all right.
good stuff there, Bradfo, for sure.
Yeah, in front of the LLB bootmobile, nonetheless. So
Nice.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Nice. So check that out again on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Bradfo, we appreciate it. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys. Have a good day. I'll talk to you.
Thank you, sir.
Rob Bradford, his weekly visit with Jones and Keefe.